We've heard enough of this nonsense.
You really think you can stand up to us?
This is pathetic.
I speak 9 languages. The black girl's voice rang out boldly in the grand ballroom. The crowd chuckled. The millionaire at the head table threw his head back and laughed the loudest. But within moments, his laughter would crumble. His pride would shatter, and the entire room would rise in stunned silence. The ballroom shimmered with wealth. Golden chandeliers sparkled, crystal glasses clinked, and violins played soft music in the background. The air was thick with perfume, cigar smoke, and arrogance. This was not just a party. It was a gathering of the city's most powerful, a night where money was flaunted as though it were air. At the head of the room sat the host, a broad-shouldered millionaire in a tailored black suit, his silver watch glinting each time he raised his glass. To him, tonight was proof of his supremacy, proof that wealth was the only language worth speaking. And yet, at the far end of the hall, unnoticed by most, sat a girl. A young black girl, no more than 16, in a modest dress that had clearly been mended more than once. She did not belong to this world of chandeliers and cigars. Her father was a driver, her mother a seamstress. She was allowed to attend only because her parents worked for one of the wealthy families seated at the front, but her eyes sharp, calm, unwavering, watched everything. She didn't fidget, didn't cower. She held herself with a dignity that no money could buy. The millionaire rose to his feet, tapping his glass for silence. "Ladies and gentlemen," he boomed, "we gather here tonight to celebrate success. And let us be honest, success belongs to those who can afford the best education, the finest teachers, and the brightest opportunities. Wealth builds brilliance. Without it, one cannot achieve greatness." The crowd roared in agreement, raising glasses, nodding smugly, but then like a pebble breaking the surface of still water, a voice rose from the back. "That's not true." Heads turned. The room fell quiet as the young girl stood slowly, her voice steady, her chin lifted. Education does not belong to the rich. It belongs to anyone willing to learn. Murmurs rippled through the room. The millionaire narrowed his eyes. "And what?" He sneered. "Could you possibly know about education?" Her answer was simple, calm, but carried like thunder. "I speak 9 languages." The room exploded with laughter. Guests clutched their sides, shaking their heads. Some even looked at her with pity, convinced she was delusional. The millionaire laughed the loudest, his voice booming. "9 languages? Child, perhaps you mean 9 words. Tell us, then prove it." "Entertain us." The girl's lips curved into the faintest smile. She took a breath and began. "Bonsoir tous," she said in perfect French. The accent was flawless, crisp as the Parisian air. Gasps cut through the laughter. Without pausing, she switched. "Buenas noches," she continued in smooth Spanish, rolling each syllable with ease. Murmurs rose. "Guten Abend" came next, her German precise and commanding. A man at one table sat straighter, recognizing the authenticity. Then Mandarin, her tone sharp and perfect, flowing like music. A few Chinese businessmen in the room blinked. Stunned. Arabic followed, rich and poetic, rolling off her tongue like prayer. Then Swahili, smooth and rhythmic, carrying the pulse of Africa. Russian thundered out, strong and heavy, followed by Hindi, gentle and melodic. Finally, she ended in graceful Japanese, bowing her head slightly as though concluding a recital 9 languages. Spoken with confidence, accuracy, and grace. The ballroom was silent. Forks hovered above plates. Glasses were frozen midair. No one laughed now. The millionaire's grin had vanished. His face drained of color, his jaw tight, his hand gripping the edge of the table. He had mocked her, but she had just spoken circles. Around him in voices he could not even begin to understand. She looked straight at him. Her eyes did not waver. "You say education belongs to the wealthy. But I learned these languages without tutors, without wealth. I learned from libraries, from borrowed books, from kind teachers who believed in me. I learned because I refused to accept limits. Knowledge does not belong to those who buy it. It belongs to those who hunger for it. Her words cut through the silence sharper than any blade. The crowd was stunned. Then slowly, from one table, applause began. A soft clap, then another, until the entire hall thundered with applause, people rising to their feet, clapping and cheering. Not for the millionaire, but for her dark tears filled the eyes of guests who had sneered minutes earlier. Even those who had laughed hardest now stood in reverent silence, realizing they had just witnessed true brilliance that no amount of gold could buy. The millionaire sat frozen, red-faced, humiliated. He could not laugh now. He could not speak. His wealth, his arrogance, his pride all meant nothing against the simple truth she had laid bare. The girl lowered her head humbly, her voice steady as she spoke one final time. True wealth is not in your pocket, it is in your mind. And true respect is not demanded, it is earned. The applause grew deafening. The chandelier lights glowed brighter as though celebrating her words. That night, the girl left not as a servant's daughter, not as a guest on the sidelines, but as the voice that silenced an entire ballroom. And the millionaire? You never laughed at her again. This story reminds us, true intelligence has no price tag, and dignity has no class. Sometimes, the most powerful lessons come not from the wealthy, but from those the world dares to underestimate. Do you agree knowledge is the greatest form of wealth? Comment your thoughts below. Subscribe for more powerful emotional stories that reveal unseen heroes and timeless truths.